Great. So I think we are live now. So good afternoon, everyone. This is Shivam Sareen. Thanks for joining in. We'll be talking about innovation in insurance space today. And today we have with us Vivek Pandyarajan, Head of Technology for P&C Solutions at Swiss Re. Today we'll be discussing regarding the advent of new technologies in insurance sector, a lot of the issues that founders face in the space, and also regarding what's the future of insurtech. So to start with, I'll request Vivek to just give a brief intro in terms of what his role has been, and also regarding how the traditional insurance has been evolving in his perspective. So Vivek, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Shivam. Am I audible, Shivam?
Yeah, very clearly.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for this opportunity to speak on this lovely topic. So before I get into Swiss Re, where I have a very interesting role, let me just spend a few minutes in terms of my background in insurance. So in the past, I've worked for one of the world's largest carriers, P&C carriers, called Chubb, and after that, I also have experience working with an insurtech, that was with Intellect. And so now, looking at the spectrum of insurance, I'm on the reinsurance side of things, where I actually get an opportunity to connect insurance and technology. So right now I'm with Swiss Re, and so I head a group. I had the technology for a group called P&C Solutions, which essentially is, think of it as a insurtech within such a large company as Swiss Re. So Swiss Re is a very large reinsurance carrier, has a great history, about 160 years old, and also it has is very well known as far as reinsurance is concerned. So it's right up there as far as Munich Re and some of the other reinsurance companies are concerned. Reinsurance, coming back to reinsurance, right? So primarily reinsurance is essentially, we're in the business of, risk transfer, right? So we're in the business of, reinsuring the insurance companies. So when we talk about risk transfer, there are two ways to sort of transfer the risk. One is obviously via capacity or capital, right, which is the core business of reinsurance or Swiss Re, where insurance company walks in and they have a portfolio that they want to insure or need some coverage, need some cover. So Swiss Re looks at the quality of the of the quote, of the policies, and then provides a quote for reinsurance, right? So that's essentially what we do. So we have a great responsibility as far as the business is concerned, because if the reinsurers do not exist, then the impact cannot trickle down, where the insurance companies would think twice, or probably many times, before providing insurance, and essentially the end users suffer, right? So it's a great responsibility that we have, because there is nobody insuring us now, right? So we are the sort of endpoint as far as the insurance is concerned. So now looking at the other side of things, as far as the P&C Solutions is concerned, so this is where things get very interesting. So because of our years of experience, the amount of data that we have, the amount of experience that we have, covering underwriters, covering insurers, etc. So we have in the past come up with different ways to provide, risk cover or risk transfer. So that is via solutions now. Now, just so that we could run our business efficiently, we had, historically come up with different kinds of solutions. Be it in the field of property, be it in the field of catastrophic risks, be in the field of automotive risks, etc. So these are world-leading solutions that we have, where it helps us underwrite better, and it also helps the insurers underwrite better, right? So now we are in the business of providing the technology, providing the solutions to the end customers to our insurance. So that is the division, and that is the business that we are in. So this is again, these solutions are both global and also regional respects. So I would like to take this opportunity to just play a little video and also maybe go through a few slides, and then we can probably open it up for discussion. If that's okay with you, Shivan.
Sure, Vivek.
Okay. Okay, let me share my screen then. Okay, I hope that was audible.
Yeah, that was pretty clear.
Thank you. So let me just go through a few slides. I'm going to go through this very quickly so that we have a lot of time for discussion. So again, P&C Solutions, little bit about as I mentioned about our company, and the group. We are help the insurance companies, grow and also, underwrite better. So that is essentially what our goals are. So with various different, capabilities and different, capacities. So we'll just walk through that in a bit. We're seeing now is tremendous amount of growth as far as insurance sector is concerned. So again, I'm not even going into life and health, which is probably a different market that is also experiencing a tremendous amount of growth, but specifically related to property and casualty. I think these numbers literally are speak for themselves as far as the premium growth is concerned, and also as far as the annual growth rate, which is another very important metric in the market. Profitable, although that's it's quite cyclical. There are years where you don't do well, etc. But the companies are seeing in groups like ours, the solutions like ours that are right out there as far as helping the companies grow more, become more profitable. Somebody who's been in insurance knows very well that profitability is an extremely different target an extremely different, metric to keep an eye on. So anything that is done that affects the bottom line or impacts the bottom line, is very much appreciated in the market. And along comes efficiency in that case as well. So again, insurance is very heavily driven by operations. So anything related to, be it, claims, be it, the underwriting process, be it, simple documentation processes, all these processes, add up, and they help in, customer, experience, they help in retention, etc. So again, solutions such as ours, helps a lot as far as efficiency is concerned. So now let's take a quick look at, us as far as Swiss Re is concerned, right? So 150 plus years of experience. We have global. This is a true global company which has, global, network with the global insurers and their clients, right? So having or making a breakthrough or putting a solution out there for our customers, for our insurers, is something that we can, easily tap into as far as our network is concerned. Again, we're highly rated as far as leadership and knowledge is concerned. The Swiss Re Institute is a very well-renowned institute, and as far as academia and research is concerned, and technology is obviously, right out there. The whole acceptance of our business, such as one of the solutions business, speaks for itself as far as the technology is concerned. These are some of the key sort of, sort of factors or mantras, I would like to say, what we help you as a client or as an insurance company, stay ahead while we build our solutions. And at a very, very high level, these are some of the sort of, directional parameters that, me being in technology, I have in my mind, which is, I need to build solutions that are plug and play. And at the same time, they are very bespoke, right? So, both not go hand in hand. So that is where I think the experience and the success factors come in, right? That's the secret sauce sort of comes in. How can you sort of meet both the ends and be successful? So again, difference between next and now is how, right? So let's get into the how. So I'm just going to shift through this and come straight to this slide. So these are some of the solutions. If you get a chance, take a look at our website, swissre.com, and also within P&C Solutions. So these are some of the solutions that or solution towers per se that exist within P&C Solutions. So Pnc Analytics, clearly, like I said, 150 plus years of experience. You can imagine the amount of data that we're holding, right? So now, how good is the data if it's not extracted well, if it's not, understood well? So, so we have a lot of experience, understanding data, solving clients' problems. So our risk consulting practice, which rolls up into the Pnc Analytics group, is very well renowned to build custom models, build custom solutions to ensure we can answer questions, lead or guide our clients in the right manner, right direction, so that they can related, profitability related, right? So these are some of the areas that we that this sort of group helps with. Property again is a huge huge sort of part of our solution offering, where we have some state-of-the-art solutions. One is the CatNet solutions, which helps a lot with catastrophic risks, catastrophic events. So trying to understand pre and post catastrophic events, and then comes along the whole the aspects of claims and adjustment processes, etc. So these are some of the tools that that our clients really use on a day-to-day basis, trying to understand their risks and also to serve their customers. Parametric also is a very important piece of our offering, where you have, you could have, earthquake related examples, where they're, the claim offerings or the claim payments, are made out right based on the connected to the writer scale, right? Again, some solutions in specialty. Cyber also is a very critical piece. As you know, the cyber attacks obviously, are growing as we speak. And if you look at the market today, the cyber products are quite, I would say they are not that innovative. They are not that, they're not sort of parametric, or they're not specific, right, as far as the cyber coverage is concerned, and also the claims, process is concerned. So today the terms are quite broad, and they're not very specific. So that's something that we are trying to tackle here, where we are in the process of forming strategic partnerships with several different companies or large corporations, where we can understand their risk exposure, understand their cyber outlook, and write products and build products accordingly. Auto and mobility is a very interesting field, where a lot has actually been done, both in terms of IoT usage, and also in terms of gathering the data, gathering the telematics information, and based on which we can underwrite or help the underwriters of auto portfolios better. Then, as far as digital facultative is concerned, somebody who knows reinsurance, facultative is essentially where you provide coverage to a small portfolio of policies. Hi, Shivam, did I lose you guys?
Yeah, I think it was just for a second or so. You can just share your screen again.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I think I was at innovation, and innovation again is a very important component of our success and of our solution offering, where we are always looking forward, looking ahead to the next sort of solution that we need to help our customers and our clients with. So there are a bunch of more other slides that that I wanted to take you guys in, but I think I'll probably stop here. And Shivam, over to you.
Sure, Vivek. Thanks, and thanks for sharing regarding Swiss Re and how some of the innovative areas that you have picked up in terms of how we can expect insurance sector to grow as well. I think that provides a lot of guidance to founders also in that aspect. So, Vivek, moving on to deeper into the topic of the day as well. You've seen the insurance sector grow, and you just shared some trends also within that. But now with the founders in the insurance space, especially with a lot of founders who are into B2C as well as B2B, almost everyone is tackling with customer data, and there are privacy issues with that as well, right? So within that scope, how do you think founders should deal with this problem, or should I say this topic, where they have to handle customer data as well as they have to make sure that they are tackling the privacy issues with that, and also looking at not just the regulations, but also the ethical side or the moral side of data management.
Shivam, can
Yeah, Vivek, I think your internet is a bit patchy. Can we try with the video off once? I think there is some internet issue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now it's better. So, Vivek, yeah, so I was just mentioning that, your take on
Okay.
how founders need to manage the customer data and the privacy issues, given that, whether it's a B2B or a B2C startup, they have to deal with a lot of customer data that comes their way.
Yeah, Shivam, I think your voice was breaking. So uh, take a let me take a shot at the question first. So, was your question related around how founders should, look at managing customers' data? Was that your question?
Yes, that was it.
Okay, all right. Customer data is extremely critical. There is no question about that, right? Because we also have the same issue. When customers for us is the insurers or the insurance companies, right? uh, so when we test our applications or sort of build POCs and build sort of small prototypes, we use customer data to tend to share information. We have to be very careful as far as if the data is leaving our environment, etc. So in this day and age, with most of the data or most of the offerings provided by the vendors being SaaS offerings, uh, you have to ask all the questions, like where is the data going to be stored, with the new rules in EU around, data not leaving EU. So that becomes very important. We have asked so many vendors of ours whom we work with to set up or open up let's say an AWS region in EU, just so that we can keep our data there. So data, do not take it for granted in this day and age. Is extremely important, and you need to have a strategy around that.
Sure, Vivek. So Vivek, also, within the scope of, startups, as we discussed, working on the customer data, there are a lot of tech advancements that have happened in the insurance sector as well. And I'm sure, like, you've been dealing with a lot of startup founders, and you've been seeing a lot of products that are coming out. What has your view been in terms of how technology can further bring changes or bring evolution to this sector? What kind, like, for example, if blockchain or AR VR or other technologies can come into forefront and become more mainstream within the insurtech space?
Okay. So I'm going to talk specifically about the India market, right? Although we do a lot of work with globally, but let me take a stab at this from India perspective. I think first and foremost, we universally, as a community, as a group of insurance sort of people, need to push for digitization or digitalization, right? So that is very important, because if you look at how insurance is dealt today, even in you'll be surprised in countries like large countries like US, etc. Uh, the digital sort of growth point is just happening or being witnessed in the last about 5 or 6 years, really, right? So, but are we there yet as far as the volumes are concerned? Probably not. It is still, the business, majority of the business is still done through brokers, to agents, etc., where the end customer may or may not even, see the policy, right? So So I think, specifically for India, we need to get to that point where we can uh, push, the digital growth. Uh, the reason that is important is only if you actually create the whole digital experience as far as the customer onboarding is concerned, and also the whole insurance buying or insurance sort of dealing is concerned. You can actually look for or build a lot of opportunities in the insurtech space, right? So now that was more from a platform and more from an opportunities perspective. But today's startups, I think one sort of pattern that I'm seeing is, people are very focused, which is a good thing, and they're very use case driven, very problem solving driven, right? So I don't think insurance or insurtech, we should be looking at broader sort of problem solving. Like, you shouldn't be looking at let me go and build another guide wire or a duck creek, right? So another pass solution, etc. You don't want to be doing that. It takes too long, it's too expensive, and it's very difficult to sell. So I think these days, the use cases coming out are all data driven. It's a lot of problem solving going around the data, a lot of machine learning being used around that. Uh, so I would keep the problem small, keep the problem specific, targeted to a specific audience, and see how you can scale from there, rather than sort of build a very large technology platform.
Makes sense, Vivek. Yeah. No, that's helpful. In fact, we have a question also already from Prakash, who wants to know how does Swiss Re see the shift in way insurance will evolve over the next 5 years. You've already talked about technology, Vivek, but other points that Prakash has asked about is processes, efficiency, customer experience.
So yeah, great question. So I think what I said, also applies to us. Uh, First and foremost, do not take your customer for granted is extremely important. That's very much more important in our field, in the reinsurance field, where you may have a relationship for 10, 15 years or so, doesn't mean that you'll have the business next year, right? So our core business, which is the reinsurance business, we have to keep an eye as far as rate is concerned, the quality is concerned, because rate and quality kind of not go hand in hand, right? So we have to ensure that what we are taking on as far as risk is concerned is important. So quality of portfolio is very important. Rates are, obviously, we would like the rates to go up. We need to balance that as well. The whole customer experience, even though we don't deal with the direct customers where the touch points are a lot more, we deal with insurance companies, and insurance companies, have a lot of options, a lot of reinsurance options. Probably the rates are the same. So we always have to give those companies a reason to be with Swiss Re, right? To ensure that they are with Swiss Re. So we also have a customer to please. So making their operational problems go away. If it's a matter of, for example, if it's just a couple of file uploads, right, that they have to do on a monthly basis to keep their reinsurance going. Now, how easy or how difficult is that? So we have to keep an eye on operations. We have to keep an eye on their experience. At the same time, communications, etc., all have to be, up to the mark. I was just having a chat with somebody on the life and health area, where the downtime is the accepted downtime is not more than half an hour, right, for any system. Now think about that. Think about the amount of infrastructure and the amount of support and the amount of investments that that we have to make. So every sort of business line has a different challenge, but key is the customer.
Makes sense. And Vic, I think this also brings up a point that we've heard from all the speakers in our session so far, where we are seeing this lack of literacy in terms of fintech as a whole, right? Or financial literacy in terms of the customers that we have. Now, would like to just pick your brains on this, on the life insurance or health insurance, or which is a bit more, I would say, a bit more mainstream, and that's where most of the founders would be. So how have you seen these apps or the startups that directly onboard customers, which are different from the traditional insurance companies, right? How do you see that growth happening? And do you see any sort of role for reinsurers in that space as well, or in partnering with such startups? Or else, do you see similar models coming up in the reinsurance space as well?
Let me rephrase your question. So are you referring to the non-traditional insurance?
Right.
Or
Non-traditional insurance. Yeah.
what would an example be?
Like, for example, I'm talking about non-traditional insurance companies in a way, like all the aggregators that have come in, and plus some of the
Mhm,
startups that have come in, which are driving insurance in terms of
mhm,
automobiles or
mhm,
other segments as well. So
mhm.
which have a pretty much online based model, right?
Right.
And they are a bit different from the traditional models that companies have followed in India and abroad.
Correct.
So one was your view in that, in this growth of this segment of startups, as well as do you see any I would say, like reinsurers entering in a similar space, or similar models coming into the reinsurance space as well? Do you see that evolution
Sure.
within,
Sure.
which will affect Swiss Re in a way?
Sure. Yeah. No, thanks. I think, the question is spot on as far as the digitization is concerned, right? Or the digital sort of onboarding or digital, growth of the insurance market. So more such aggregators, more such startups, more the merrier. I think because what the segment needs, or what this country needs, is a lot more people first buying insurance, right? Second is a lot more people renewing insurance and looking at insurance as a need rather than a want, right? So and hence why my comment on digitalization, because only such processes or such efforts will help us get there. So that is number one. Number two is, on the flip side, no matter what digitalization you do, the core business is the insurance business, right? You are underwriting a risk, you are covering a risk, there is a policy, and there is a period, and if something happens, there is a claim and a payout, right? So the fundamental business is not going anywhere. Only the form of engaging it, or form of sort of engaging the customer with, is changing. So with that said, our reinsurance business is still very solid. Our purpose is still very solid. More the customers, more the insurance policies, more the reinsurance, right? But as far as P&C Solutions, as far as the solutions business is concerned, clearly we can definitely help two aspects here, two parties here. One is the aggregators, right? We can obviously help them aggregate better, or we can help them recommend better to their end customers, right? That's one. The second aspect is clearly the insurance community, which we are already working with, where we can help them serve their customers once the customer has decided to buy the insurance with.
Right. And Vivek, there's a question as well from Ankit Agarwal regarding how does Swiss Re differentiate itself from the other large players and also new age insurance tech startups. I'll also add to it that, what would be your suggestion to the founders on how they should should they differentiate themselves when they're entering in this market? So if you could just share from the Swiss Re point of view, and also your suggestion to the founders who are entering the space.
Uh, Swiss Re is first and foremost, the history and legacy makes a big difference. Uh, Insurance business is a business of trust. So when I used to work for Chubb, it was the same deal. Chubb was a 130-year-old, is a 130-year-old company. So a lot of clients, are there from different multiple generations. So company's reputation is extremely important. Same goes with Swiss Re, right? Because think about it, the most important thing is when a customer buys an insurance, he or she should not have a thought that if I have a claim, will the company pay me back or not, right? Or pay out the agreed amount or not. Same goes with reinsurance, right? When an insurance company buys reinsurance, they want the assurance. So very few companies can do that. I'm not going to say that we are the only company who does that. There are other large players who are equally good, but I think what differentiates us is we are a truly global company. We are located in pretty much in every country that has an insurance market, and we are poised for the future, right? So we are very well placed, and we know what we're doing as far as the growth and the market is concerned. Message to the founders is if they want to play in the insurance, or if they want to do something in the insurance space and in the reinsurance spaces, pick a problem that uh, companies like us go through every day, because more and more companies like us are becoming very startup friendly and very supplier friendly, right? Gone are the days where 10-15 years ago, where we would say, no, I'm not going to buy, I'm just going to build it, right? So these days, reinsurance solutions turnaround time is extremely quick. You can't take years or months to build something and roll out something, because the market changes. So I think key for you is to understand a problem, work on it, and deliver it quickly, right? So and the best way for you is to partner with companies and work on POCs, and and see how both value add, and from a value perspective, and how there can be value for both for us and both for companies like you. We do that day in, day out. We have tons and tons of POCs going on with so many different providers, right? Uh, so it's based on mutual, based on sort of mutual, understanding of what our goals are, and the problems that we want to solve, etc., are made very clear. Now, again, those are not something that we're just looking to build on our own, right? So we are happy to, like, we partner with hundreds of vendors, hundreds of startups, where there's so many cases where we white label startups, right? So there are startups who don't have a reach. We evaluate the startups, we see if there's value add, we take them on, and we partner with them. At the same time, we also offer white labeling products, right? Where companies can use our technology, put their brand in, and go ahead with. So I think the cumulative goal is to make progress in the insurance field and get more clients. So
Right, right. And maybe it's very important for founders to acknowledge that there will be partnerships that are necessary to grow and to scale up. So I think this was a good good input and insight for the founders and who are looking to partner with organizations, or who are looking to the right partners to grow and scale up. And since you've addressed that already, I think we can now probably hear from you more about the future of insurtech as you see it. Whether it's about newer models or something like embedded insurance that's been coming up in a lot of spaces, even in India now. And similarly, there'll be a lot more white spaces that you see, which you would want to share with the founders who are looking to build solutions in the newer areas. So could you just suggest some of these white spaces that you see?
so I think the key is going to be data. Key is going to be uh, you know how do you gather the data? How do you analyze data? And how do you make sense, after that, right? Like, what do you do with that? So telematics, IoTs are going to be extremely important. Uh, uh, like if you take, upcoming markets, like if you look at the EV boom, right? That's going to probably stay here for another 10 years or so. Uh, there's so much scope there. If you think about the insurance, think about the auto insurance. The way auto insurance is going to be looked at, it's going to be very different. It's because if you look at the combustion engine, based cars, nobody cared about the engine or the batteries, right? So it was more about how the driver was driving the car and the other sort of safety features in the car, etc. Now the perspective is changing as far as EV is concerned. So how good is the battery, right? So how long will the car last? If there are 10 different players in the battery market, uh, do you know whose battery is better than the others, right? So, and don't you think that will give that'll be a lot of value to insurance companies who are underwriting these cars, right? Now think of the insurance companies, they want to also get the data first, so that they can also understand whether they can underwrite better, right? So they don't want to overpay, they don't want to underpay as far as the insurance premiums or the claims are concerned. So it's going to be heavily IoT based, heavily data based. Uh, Blockchain is going to be probably more transactional. Uh, I think blockchain may not directly help or assist with the insurance growth. It's probably going to be there in the ecosystem, either facilitating the process of completion, as far as the insurance life cycle is concerned. But I think data is probably is where I would bet. As far as value, to the insurance companies or maybe even to the reinsurance are concerned.
Right. I think that's very important. I think data would be the king in the growth of insurance sector. So we also, as you've mentioned, partnerships, and as we discussed that this will be a pretty mandatory step for a lot of startups in this space. So since you've been collaborating with a lot of startups at Swiss Re also, would you just give a few do's and don'ts for the startup founders when they are engaging with a company like Swiss Re or a large organization for partnering under for a use case or for a pilot? I'm sure there would be some learnings that you would have seen so far, which would be beneficial for the founders as well.
Yeah, sure. So just as the case is with us, right? So if you look at, let me take a step back. As founders, I think I want you to make an assumption that when you're dealing with an insurance company, don't think of them as an insurance company, but think of them as an insurtech, right? You yourself may be an insurtech, but think of the client also as an insurtech. That is a very important change in mindset, because traditional companies, insurance carriers, are heavily investing in technology, and they're doing exactly what you are doing, right? They probably have not addressed the problem that you are trying to solve just because they didn't get there, but they have all the capabilities to solve your problem, right? They just don't have the time. They have all the people, they have all the money, they have all the resources needed. So don't assume that they don't know what you are talking, right? So that is extremely important. Gone are those days where people will not talk about the tech stack you're using, and I think those are some of the first questions that we get into when we talk to people, that how is your product written, how is it scalable. We assess, where are you hosting it, are you going to host it in my environment, are you going to SaaS, Are you licensing based? We're going to look at all that, because now think about us, right? At P&C Solutions, we are a tech company, or a insurtech within a large reinsurance company. Uh, so we do this for a living, right? So when we are reaching out for help, it is a genuine ask, a genuine reach out, for help as far as our acceleration is concerned. It's not, maybe it's not, it's not because we do not have the capability to do it. It's because we don't have the time, or maybe not the priority, right? So we would like to, partner with some other players. So when that is the case, I think if I were you, if I were a startup, I would, go directly to the pitch, reduce the sales, talk more about your offering. If you can demo a product in the first meeting itself, nothing like that. You want a direct answer whether this is going to fit or not, right? If we see a fit, we take it forward right away. We make it very simple for you, take it forward right away. If there is no fit, take a no and move on, right? Take a no, and and go to the next sort of customer. So I think that's going to be very important. So even the sales sort of process is also changing. The people who are selling are very different. I think as founders, if you're there, if you're CTO, or if you're sort of, you yourself are the CTO come founder, uh, I would expect you to be there, and do the talking, because I want to know what is in your product pipeline. If this feature, something that I want, is not there, I would like to know what's coming up. When is it coming up? It's, you'll be surprised to know I'll probably be more than patient to wait for your product to come out, right? Your feature to come out. So, so I think hearing that from the founder makes a huge difference. So those would be some of some of the points, Shivam.
Great, great. Those are very relevant points. In fact, pretty much in line with a lot of corporates that we work with under NIPP also. So we have been suggesting founders on these key points that are very relevant when they are engaging with corporates. In fact, it makes it makes everyone's job easy when we have to support some this sort of an engagement. So Vivek, we have a question from Kanchan regarding how has COVID affected Swiss Re as a company. I would just add on to it if you could just share those maybe changes or the learnings that as an organization you have seen, which obviously helps the founders as well in this case.
COVID as such, very similar to maybe thousands of other companies, hasn't really impacted our operations. uh, for the last 18 months or so, or probably 20 months or so, that things have been shut down. It's BAU in general, uh, from an operations perspective. As far as business is concerned, I think there was an impact to the life and health sort of portfolio, uh, which is again pretty consistent with what the industry has gone through. The insurance companies, because we are in the business of reinsuring life and health insurance carriers and property and commercial insurance carriers as well. So that is the business that we are in. If they take losses, we have to pay, right? So now there is no going back. This is an unprecedented sort of an event. If insurance companies decided to pay out, so do we, right? So that is the agreement, and that's what we follow. That is what we are there for. So it's quite debatable whether a bad sort of a year is a representation of the company's act, or something that the company did not do well, right? So that is one sort of discussion, one sort of way to look at things. The other way is obviously there is lessons learned. We because of the not so great years or so that we had, we got the opportunity to look at our portfolios, right? Look to see if the insurance companies are including the right clauses, are sort of doing their underwriting better. So because of which we had to take some decisions on quality, take some decisions on the nature of portfolios that we want to underwrite, right? Uh, I think going back to uh, your advice to startups is, uh, today it's COVID, tomorrow it could be something else, right? So you have to keep an eye on on your customer and on your types of customers, right? This again goes back to your basics of diversifying your customer base, diversifying your risk. Now if you are writing, if you are in the process of providing service or providing solutions to a specific uh, car company that people no longer buy from, right? So uh, that is something that you need to think about, right? Should I cover only one product, one vehicle, or should I cover different kinds of vehicles, right? Like, is your product good enough to cover the next sort of wave, right, which is the EV, etc. So I think keeping an eye on that is going to be very important. I think those are some of the mistakes that people do. We do that in and out, right? Even we as a company, we also do that. But I think it's important to quickly fail fast, right, and recover fast and sort of move on.
Right, and very relevant key takeaways for the founders as well. And just as we come to the end of the session, Vivek, I'll just share with the attendees that we are providing opportunity to early stage startups to participate in NASSCOM India FinTech Awards. I'm sharing the details in the chat as well. You can check out the website and get to know what are the opportunities, and there's a prize money for each of the categories. One of the category is insurance, so you can apply there and get an opportunity to connect with potential clients, potential customers, investors, as well as NASSCOM support throughout this process as well. So Vivek, as a last question and to conclude the session, I would just want to understand from you that as a leader, as an industry leader, one is what keeps you going throughout all these ups and downs in the industry, or during COVID and everything. And also in addition to it, which are some of the founders, or which are some of the entrepreneurs in insurance space that inspire you as a leader?
Uh, I think this probably message this sort of learning should be for every individual if you want to survive purely in technology, right? Like, insurance as such was a field which didn't see much change until probably about 2010. Uh, so only after 2010 or so, which is the last 10, 11 years, has seen drastic change, as far as technology is concerned and as far as investments are concerned in technology. So with that, and again, and I think it started at the right time uh, where projects done 2, 3 years ago are no longer relevant. You had to change gears, rewrite programs or projects in different sort of languages, look at it from a different perspective, data perspective, bring in machine learning. RPA came, in some cases is even gone, right, in the insurance space. So it's very, very quick moving. So I think keep yourself educated. You have to stay relevant. You have to keep learning. You have to keep sort of keep an eye on what's happening, what's good, what's not good. Raise your hand if you don't know something, ask questions, right? So I do that in and out. Like, I'm not good at certain things, I'm good at certain things. So I need to partner with people, need to, and hence why, as a company also, right? So we partner with vendors, something that we don't are not good at, right? So that's what we do. uh, Somebody whom I look up to, I think I think there are uh, several leaders in the banking and insurance space that I look up to. I mean, on the banking side, I have a lot of regard for Jamie Dimon, somebody who leads JP Morgan, where I worked for, and also Mr. Greenberg in at Chubb. So I was right there when the company got acquired, and I saw the shift in culture, the whole aspects of fail fast, recover fast. 80% is enough, right? Go to production. Those are some of the things that that the company still uses. So so those are some of, I think, the ideologies that I go with.
Great, great. And Vivek, also any of the Indian founders, in these last 10 years in the fintech space in general, whom you think have been maybe, very inspiring for you also, the way they have grown a business or the way they have, brought changes to a particular segment?
Sure. I personally have been inspired by a few technologies that have made our lives very easy, or have actually solved a significant amount of problems. Like, I'll probably go a little bit broad. So India generally struggles with parking, right? So people have cars, they don't have place to park. Food delivery, right? So the whole aspect of going to a restaurant, where do I park my car, and the whole aspect of getting to a restaurant, guess what? Some of the food delivery guys have solved that problem, right? So I think I really look up to those kind of, where there's a massive shift in terms of adoption, even in countries like US. The Uber Eats, etc., is not that sort of mainstream compared to the Zomatos and Swiggies that we have here. On the fintech side, I think I think Paytm is really something that I look up to, because I find it very inspiring when even a small coconut seller, right, sitting on the road, has a barcode, sitting out there. So I think of it from a startup perspective, right? The amount of adoption, the amount of marketing, and the up work and the leg work, right, that they had to do to get somebody to sign up, to where there was always apprehension of holding a bank account or something. People always wanted cash. So that's the kind of revolution, right, that you really look up to. So I think Paytm would be right up there.
Great, great, Vivek. I think those are obviously, the poster boys, or, so to say, the idols that we have in the startup world, in the current times. It has been inspiring for everyone. And Vivek, as we end the session, I would like to thank you, for giving your time. And we've kind of, tried to make sure that we can complete the session with all the tech issues or the network issues that we've had initially. But thanks for holding on and sharing all these insights. And we have Kanchan in the attendees, who has thanked you for sharing these insights. He says it's a very helpful session. And I think I agree completely with that thought. So Vivek, thanks so much for joining in. We'll definitely plan more sessions in insurance space in the future as well, and we'll definitely invite you there. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Great. Thanks everyone for joining in. As I said, you can get more details regarding the FinTech Awards on the details that we've shared, and we'll keep planning much more sessions like this. Thank you so much.